Firstly, thank you to both of you for being a part of Voice It and for coming on board and having this conversation today. I have Mev and I have Najma today from a spark of all that is. They are into Theta Healing. They're going to be explaining the whole concept of Theta Healing, what it is that they do, how is it that they're helping people every day. But I'm just very, very happy that we're having this conversation, and I want everybody to know what exactly the concept is, what exactly goes into the kind of work that you're doing, and how does it help people at the end. So, Mev, would you like to start and tell us what exactly the concept of Theta Healing is?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you, Karishma, for having us on Voice It.
Yes.
A brilliant initiative to get people talking at their dinner tables with their friends about difficult issues and things that are being held back. So awesome. It's wonderful to be here. Najma and I both are so excited to be here talking about Theta Healing. This is Najma and my name is Mehvash. I go by Mev. We are both Theta Healers for the last 6 years. We work from India in Mumbai as well as Dubai. And the concept is Theta Healing, which is actually a spiritual modality. It's a Theta Healing technique, which is a meditation and healing technique. Yes. The Theta brainwave is what we use. So Theta Healing comes from the word Theta, which is a brainwave. So we have 5 brainwaves that we use: alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and theta. So beta is what we're talking in. It's our logical waking mind. We make logic and reasoning. We problem solve. This is our conscious mind. Alpha goes into meditation. So when you're very still and you're quiet and you become very meditative. Delta is when you're asleep. So your brain cycles are fewer, and that's when it's also the healing wave. So when your body sleeps, it also heals. Rewires itself. Yes. Theta is in between alpha and delta. It's between meditation and that dream sleep state. The reason we use theta is because our mind is 10% conscious and 90% subconscious. Yes. So 10% conscious mind is what we use in our daily life. We consciously make decisions like, today I'm going to take my car to work, or today I'll take the bus to work. Today I want to eat so-and-so. Today I want to eat something else. So you are making conscious choices. And those things are constantly, you have to make decisions. You decide to do those things. Even, for example, buying a house, you're going to look logically at where is it, what's going on, and how I'm going to buy it. The 90% though is your subconscious. So if 10% is your conscious and logical mind, then the 90% that's left is your subconscious. Now the subconscious is the part of your brain that keeps you alive. For example, you don't have to consciously think of your heart beating. You don't have to consciously think of your lungs breathing in and out. You breathe, you blink, your digestive system is doing its job, immune system is doing its job. But that's being done by the brain without you having to say, okay, let me breathe in, breathe out, let me contract my heart, let me release my heart. You don't have to think of it, it's automatic. Yes. That's how your brain is wired to take care of you. So one whole part of your subconscious brain is that. The other part is the illogical. So for example, if somebody logically wants to lose weight, yes, they should say, okay, I'm going to eat different food, I'm going to exercise. Yes. And then their logical mind stops to work sometimes, and the emotional part comes in and says, I have to just binge. And so they are eating the sugars and the things because it's not a logical thing. Yes. It's not a logical reaction. It's an illogical. Even though logically they're like, but I said I'm going to release it. Why am I doing this emotionally? Yes. The reason we do that is the subconscious mind, the 90% of your mind. If it doesn't think that it's good for you, it's going to sabotage you to keep you alive. Yes. It's the same reason that it pumps your heart. The same reason if your brain sees a lion or something that is scary, it makes you run. If your 90% of your mind wants to keep you alive. Yes. The theta brainwave allows the conscious mind to open up and see the subconscious mind. And see logically where is this emotional fear coming from. Yes. So when we take them into that Theta Healing meditation, we put the brain into the Theta brainwave And then the 10% and the 90%, the what do you say, the barrier,
Yeah, the barrier
it
is-
opens up. And the logical mind will say, okay, logically, where is my emotion coming from?
Yes.
And then we can go back and, for example, just as an example.
This is what we help people do. So
Yeah.
because you can't do it yourself, so we help you do that.
We assist them. So, for example, if somebody comes to us with a weight issue, say, I've been, eating right and I work out, but then I have these binges and I can't stop myself. We
Yeah.
put them into a theta brainwave and we get them to start looking into their subconscious mind of why this is happening. So when we dig in using the theta healing techniques,
Yes.
we go into their emotional and their beliefs.
Yes.
So their emotion and beliefs come from who they are, how they grew up,
Yes.
who their parents are, where genetically where they're from, the land that they live in.
Yes.
Those things have an effect on our cells, in our DNA.
It does.
And all of that is part of who you are. So, for example, when we go into that session and we find out, okay, so why do you think it is that you want to eat? And they're like, because the last time I had less to eat, we had a famine. And they might be remembering something that their great grandfather might have gone through.
Yes.
Or maybe it's something that their parents went through when their parents were struggling monetarily. And maybe when she was a child, a client, they did not have enough to eat.
Yes.
And so when they had food, they would eat quickly so that they would have nourishment, so that they had something to keep their body going. So therefore, in their mind, having less means that you are starving, that you are going to be in danger. And so when you see food, eat it quickly because you don't know when the next one is coming.
Yes.
Now that is a very deep belief that's in their subconscious mind. And only they will be able to tell us. Because when we put them in that state, remember, this is not hypnosis. This is them consciously being aware, but being quiet and still enough with the theta meditation going into that part of them and emotionally seeing what is bringing them to that point. And so no matter how much you say, I'm thin, I'm thin, I'm fit, if they don't believe it in their cells that this food is, if there's no food that I will die,
Yes.
we will change that. So then we say, what do you want to change? And we're like, I want to be able to know that I always have food. So now it's actually not about food. The problem is about abundance.
True.
Not about money. It's just about abundance. So do I have enough love, enough support, enough food, money? Do I have enough riches? Do I have enough friends? Do I have enough people who love me? So really, it's not about the food. So what we start off with, which was something about losing weight, actually comes up to something very deep. And when we change that and they realize that they are abundant all the time, and we ask them, so would you like to change that? And of course, when we say change, we use the energy of what we believe is the creator of all that is. Whoever you believe in, whoever you think is your God, whatever name you give to a higher intelligence, we ask that energy, because for us, we believe that energy is unconditional love.
Yes.
And everyone has access to that. We all connect to it. We just call it by different names.
Yes.
But at the heart of it, we all know what we're talking about. It's the same energy.
True.
We just have to accept it and know that we are connecting to it.
Yes.
So once we change that and we ask them, would you like creator to show you what abundance feels like? Would you like creator to show you always have enough, that you are plenty, that the universe provides, that you know how to always allow to receive? Because sometimes even wanting to receive, they feel guilt. Oh, I shouldn't take because I might be taking from somebody else.
Yes.
But when we connect to infinite, that means we can take because there's enough for everybody.
Yes.
That mentality shift, when they get into that theta brainwave, and the reason we have to go into that theta brainwave is because the subconscious needs to understand that there is enough, not just the conscious. So if the subconscious knows, and now that we've spoken to the client and they realize, actually, yes, there is enough, they start allowing themselves to connect to the creator and to download themselves with these feelings.
Yes.
And then that makes that shift of, now that they know that there's plenty, suddenly they don't feel the need to eat because they're like, it's okay, I have enough.
Yes.
But to know that on a cellular level,
True.
and that is a technique which needs practice, which we need to teach,
It
so
does.
that they know how to get in there and what it feels like. It's something that you have to experience. That's why we say Theta Healing is an experiential modality. You have to experience it to understand what it feels like.
Yes.
And then it becomes much easier.
You want to say
So,
her version of it?
yeah, no, see, Theta Healing has so many aspects to it. It's not just one thing, it's so vast. We could go on talking about it forever. Because, so when you bring it down to basics, we also say Theta Healing is a modality which is about prayer and which is a philosophy. So when you say these two things, now what is a prayer? Prayer is intent and words. And philosophy is like understanding a system. You need to know why things are happening, what's going on. So everyone at some point has gone through a crisis, whether it's like, I love this thing that you say, when you say that it should be a conversation where you ask deep, interesting thoughts, because you can go and unburden yourself to a friend or to a relative or whoever, but that is just not, that's very band-aid work. It's just a little bit, you say, okay, I feel lightened for now, but sometimes even for you, you may be the shoulder that's taking it all. You're a very kind person. People come to you, they talk to you. But then what? You either become as miserable as them because you're saying like, oh God, I can't do anything about it.
Yes.
So that doesn't work either for you or for them.
Yes.
And then the thing is that problem hasn't been solved. It'll come back. It becomes a cycle because you haven't learned why it was there in the first place.
Absolutely.
So that is one thing. And at that point, when you're a family or a person goes through a crisis and a really difficult one, the one thing that happens is you just go like, oh my God, help, or save me, or I really want this.
Yes.
That is a prayer. That is an urgent wish from your heart. And it is going outside of you. It goes to something else. You are asking somebody else. So Theta Healing is that it brings this prayer, how to make it efficient, how to make it, because they like to say, oh, sometimes, oh, what a time that you said it at, it was a moment you said and it happened. Well, we know how to make that prayer a moment at all times consciously.
Yes.
So we teach you how to pray where whatever you say should come true.
Yes.
Your reality should be in your hands. You should be empowered enough to do that.
Yes.
Because it's for you, it's your life.
Yes.
The other thing that happens is, like I said, a philosophy. So there are times when you're like I said, you work very hard for a certain goal. You reach that goal. And then you say, okay, now what? Now what do I make of the world? Or some tragedy happens in the family or an illness happens and you wonder like, why is it happening to me?
Yes.
You're trying to make sense of the world, or there is some war going on somewhere or something horrible happening or a famine or whatever. You say, oh my God, why does God do this to people? Now to understand that system, there needs to be a philosophy. We have philosophies and wisdom from ancients, true. But a lot of it is also time specific. So we need to see it in a modern language. Yes. What is this philosophy? How does it relate to things today?
Right now, yes.
So prayer and philosophy are these two things, and that is your mental health. That's where you can go crazy, or you find your peace and your center. You were able to center yourself. Yes. So these are the two things that Theta Healing is about.
Yes.
How do we handle this?
Yes.
That is the thing. So what do we do? What do we do for a prayer? That is a technique we teach. How to connect to the Creator.
Okay.
That is a technique we teach, and it is very fast. It's really, really quick. It doesn't have to take much time. So that is one thing. Also, it doesn't matter which religion somebody belongs to, what modalities they're doing. It helps, it complements all of it.
Yes.
Including medical science.
Everything, even medical science. It can help everyone. So there are hospitals that use this in conjunction with modern medicine to help people heal faster.
Absolutely.
Okay. Also, if you heal, how not to let the illness come back? Because what is there to stop it from coming back? So there's always this fear. I have had cancer, okay, I'm cured, but what if it comes back? So what Theta Healing does, it is a precision with total kindness, with keeping your free will in taking that into consideration. We go deep into your subconscious mind, like she says, the theta brainwave, pick out the bottom belief which is causing all this trouble, and then we give the power back to the person and say, okay, this is your problem. Do you want to solve it? Now the responsibility and accountability is with the client.
Yes.
And that is what causes the real change. When they make up their mind and
Yes.
say, okay, we are ready to do this.
Yes.
And when they are in the subconscious, theta brainwave, and they're doing this, it works. It works like a charm. It works immediately. There are thousands and thousands of people who we have worked with, and this has worked. The other thing, like I said, is the philosophy. So then that again, how does the world work? What is the system? How does it, why do things happen the way they do? The laws of karma, the laws of cause and effect.
Yeah.
Where are all these things coming from? That also is taken care of in Theta Healing. So yeah, it is a very all-encompassing kind of modality that works on all these things. So yeah.
We have the large, which is how the world works, and then the small part where they come for sessions if they have an issue, like for instance, either weight, relationship, work, and to find out superficially it might be work. Superficially, my boss hates me. I have a problem with my boss all the time. You
Yes.
have to find out what is it really that the boss is pushing you to learn. Why did this boss come into your life? Why are you being put into this position? Because that's what a lot of people say, like, why me? Why me? It will only be you because you're the only one experiencing life. It can't be somebody else.
Yes.
You are experiencing life. So whatever you are going through is real for you. And whatever you don't have an issue with, it clears up. And whatever you have an issue with or a block with, it's just coming to show you, figure it out. Use your brains to figure out, okay, what is it that's stopping me? What am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to change in my life to be the best version of myself? Because no matter what, kicking and screaming, people are being pushed to be their best. Either you can go kicking and screaming.
That's what the universe is going to do to you.
Yes, it is. It is. It is going to do that. Yes. Yes.
So you can either go kicking and screaming or you can go happily.
Yes.
The choice again goes back to us. It becomes us. So it's really cool to be empowered by it. It's really wonderful to know that, yes, you can come to us for a session, but then what you can do is learn it for yourself so that you're not dependent on us for the session.
Yes.
The session is merely to show you the possibility of what you can do.
True.
And everyone can learn it. No age, caste, creed, color, place, no barriers whatsoever. You don't have to be smart, you don't have to have a great IQ, because at the end of the day, you're a human being. That's all you're connecting to. At whatever level you are, have the kindness and compassion and understand who you are at that level.
Yes.
That's all.
Yes.
To be able to do that, that's what makes us feel wonderful about Theta Healing, is that we can connect to every human being at their level.
They never. True.
And touch their heart. And that's pretty amazing.
So in any walk of life, absolutely any walk of life that a person is, they all want to feel loved. They all want to feel like they're doing good.
Yes.
And they all want to feel like they're contributing members to society, whether in their minds if they're doing it a wonderful way or in a weird twisted way for us. But in their minds, they're still doing that. They want to be loved. They don't want to be hurt. They want to be safe. They're afraid.
Yeah.
And they're also courageous.
Yes.
So since all of this binds us, because we work with people from 40 different countries, sometimes using a translator, sometimes when we didn't have a translator, just using our hand gestures. But the amazing thing is you can communicate, because communicating is through creative, and we are using the language of unconditional love.
Yes. Yes.
And when someone comes to you, Karishma, and they speak to you, it's because you give them a sense of being safe, that you do not judge them, that you accept them.
Yes.
And that is what Creator is. Creator loves you as you are, even for the flaws,
Yes.
even for mistakes that you made. It doesn't matter, because to Creator, you are an amazing human being. You are a spark of God.
Yes.
And so with the clients, when we see clients that way, when they realize that they're being seen that way, they feel safe to be able to open up and to heal.
Yeah.
And when they start seeing themselves in that way, through the eyes, then they're able to heal themselves.
It's one of the things that we teach people to do, scan. All of us scan, but we don't know it.
Yeah.
We see other people and we make judgments, but actually if you saw the real self of that person, then it would not be like that. You would see the good qualities of the person. If you saw yourself for who you really are, you wouldn't have doubts about yourself. So those are the things that we need to change.
when we teach you to scan, we teach you to look, we say, look for 3 wonderful things about that person. So let's say you're going to some place where you need to make a phone payment or a phone complaint, and there are many people sitting there. You can ask creator, show me, and you connect using the Theta Healing technique and scan the person who will help you the easiest. And you can also say, what are their qualities? So even though they might be irritated, you might see the qualities of that they like to be of service, they like to help, that they have a good sense of humor, and that they may be very artistic. So if you go and you talk to somebody, just the voice, just
With the
knowing that they are people who are happy to be of service, to have all of these qualities. You don't have to say, hey, you are so and so, that you have a great sense of humor. Just talking to them, knowing that they are able to feel it from you. And suddenly your bill might get like a complimentary off or something, or you might be them, they'll help you resolve the issue very quickly. Whereas people before you might have been fighting with them, when you go to them, they're completely happy, they're wonderful. So you shifted your reality. Other people who went in before you had a different reality, but because you decided that I'm going to see the best in this person,
Yes.
you shifted your reality. The world didn't change, you changed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perceptions.
That you just mentioned right now, I think one thing that makes so much sense is that, and I've seen this repeatedly, I've seen that, when we go for, even as women, we're in this sector where we get labeled as gossip mongers. We get labeled as women, who, can get into congregations to get into like sets and then talk about other people. It's a general mindset that people have that, if there is a, gathering of women, if there is a gathering of a kitty party, they'll generally be talking about other people, So, but I feel like, what you just mentioned right now is so beautiful that instead of looking at somebody and judging them in a negative connotation, if we start scanning them in the positive connotation, there is so much that we take back from each people, even without having a conversation with that person, just by observing them, just by seeing good qualities in that person and slowly imbibing that in yourself, even if it is just in that moment, and you can forget about it after that conversation. But that shift that happened within you at that particular moment, where you intuitively took up the positive vibes of that person, you reciprocated your positive vibes to that person, that connection becomes so easy. Then I think that beauty,
that's most effective.
That's beautiful in a social setup. That's so very beautiful and needed at the hour, at today's day and time, instead of constantly judging.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I wanted to say something, that this is not being like in a la la land, like we only see the nice things about people, we don't see the negative, blah blah blah. That's being delusional.
Yes.
We also, once you start learning how to see the positive, you can also start saying, okay, what are their weaknesses? So for example, if you're a boss and you scan a person and you say, okay, they have these qualities that work and these qualities that don't work. Now I can see how I can help them shift to make those negatives into positives. Or what can I do to make sure that if this person's weakness is this, maybe I should hire somebody that will complement this and help these two to work together. So it works on even in work, in corporate spaces, in business sectors, in schools, in daily life. So we're not being like delusional or saying everything is pretty and beautiful. We see the truth about people.
Yes.
But that doesn't stop us from just dwelling on either the goodness or just the negativity. We want to see how can both push each other to make us the best versions and make the other person the best version.
It's so fascinating that you mentioned this right now, and to give you a live example of that, right? It's just absolutely fascinating that you mentioned this right now, because it's one of the things that I personally do. It's one of the biggest things that I do, is that, when somebody comes to me for a consultation, or when somebody comes to me and I'm having a conversation with them and I have to help them out, right? That same modality which you just explained of, observing the strengths, observing the negatives, right? The weaknesses probably, right? Whatever things are not working out and whatever things are working really well. So you amplify the things that work really well, and you reduce the things that are not really working that well. You create awareness for that. I think that's where that behavior shift happens, creating that awareness. I also feel that, with the whole Theta concept that you just mentioned right now, I think creating that awareness in that person, making them actually, shift their perspective from this is something that is just subconscious, and then this is a reality as well. I have to accept this and move on with my life, change certain things. I think, this is something that works so beautifully in my practice also, and I've seen the tremendous changes that it brings. So it's just so ironical that you mentioned this right now, Mev. It's fantastic. I think this is it's true. On the same note, I actually had a question for you both, with respect to the kind of changes that you have seen in people, the kind of transformations that have come into people. I've seen in a lot of we spoke about this one term right now called behavior change modification, right? And that is something that I have seen. It takes work on an individual level, and it also needs support from people, right? So when we as the healing community, we as people who want to offer support and help to people, right, with the kind of work that you're doing, work that I'm doing, if you are working with somebody, right, and that behavior shift has to be reciprocated by that person as well, right? Because you can just be a mediator, you can just be somebody to support, but as you very correctly mentioned, that change has to come in from within, right? So in your practice, have you seen something where the individual wants to change, right, but it's just not happening, that there is this probably some kind of a barrier, or that behavioral change modification is not happening from that person? How is it that you can actually then help the person? Because we always know that we can try, but then there could be a barrier or some sort or the other from the person itself. So when you reach something like this, right, when you reach a scenario like this, how is it that you can help somebody with theta healing? Because so many times I've seen people drop out of programs. So many times I've seen people stop their progress in the middle because they themselves become obstacles for their progress, right? So if you could just share some experiences or your viewpoint on how can people stop becoming a barrier for themselves.
So I'll say a little bit, and then I think Najma will be able to also elaborate.
Yes.
So them coming, the barrier is when they come to us.
Yes.
That's when they come to us. So the barrier is the block. So what is the block? If they cannot logically find out, that's why the subconscious mind. So taking them into the theta brainwave, getting them into the theta brainwave, and then doing the theta healing digging technique, where they start looking at it emotionally. So for example, if they start to release weight, and then they're almost like 50% done, and then they just leave it.
Yes.
Now they know that they want to release it.
Yes.
Right? They've paid the money, they've got the gym equipment, the gym membership, they've changed their whole refrigerator food, everything, the snacks have been thrown out. And then once they hit 50, it changes.
Yes.
Now, let me tell you that every person is unique. So I'm just giving you one of the multiple million examples.
Yes.
For example, in this person, if they come to 50% and they stop, and I start getting them to feeling, okay, so what has happened? Sometimes, let's say in this case, the last time this person was this weight, something scary happened, maybe an abuse.
Yeah.
And when that abuse happened, their way of keeping themselves safe was because they were feeling too slim, maybe they got abused. So they started to put on weight because then they won't be abused.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
That can only come out in a theta healing session, because consciously they don't know this, but subconsciously they might have repressed this feeling, this emotion. And once they realize that they are feeling this way, then you can ask them, do you want to change this? What do you need to be able to change this? Sometimes they say, I don't want to change it. I'm not ready. And that's where we come in. Free will is important.
Yes.
Understanding free will and free agency is part of theta healing. You cannot force somebody. I cannot force somebody to change their beliefs. I cannot force somebody to heal them. Even though I might see everything, even though when you see your client, you're like, I know what their issue is, but if they're not ready, that's their journey.
Yes.
But if they are ready, and usually they come to you because they are ready.
Yeah.
So when they have enough help and knowing that they're safe enough, like, okay, I'm ready to let go of this abuse. Now, when that starts to release, then they're able to start doing it again without self-sabotage, because self-sabotage comes because they are not safe.
Yes.
As soon as they find out why they are not safe and what can they do to become safe, again, This is all in the emotional subconscious mind.
Yes.
Once they understand that part, then it becomes easy for them to make a decision. Okay, I think I'm ready to let this go, or maybe I need a couple of more days. I'll come back and do another session. But again, it's up to them, and we respect that, because that person has to be feeling strong enough, safe enough, brave enough. Most of the time, we've noticed 90%, 99% of the time, they're ready to let go. And the 1% that goes usually calls back and say, okay, I know what it is. I figured it out.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we're doing like she said, when they are ready for this, that's why they've come to you. They've come to you for a reason. Something inside them says, I want to do this.
Yes.
Now, when they come to us and we take them into that deep theta wave, they are facing themselves. They are facing their deepest fears. We are holding them in a safe space so that they feel safe enough to confront it and to resolve it.
Yes.
We help them do that. But like you said, the journey is theirs. Most people who come are able to do it. There are some who just do not want to let it go.
Yes.
It is maybe an ego issue. It could be anything. They just don't want to let it go. Then that is up to them. We have to respect their journey. So you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make them drink it. They will come back when they are ready. So it is so, to give you an example, there was this lady who, actually she was a cousin of mine who, said, okay, what are you doing? I want to do this. So I started doing it with her. I started a session with her. And suddenly she got up and she says, I cannot take this anymore, because every cell in her body had the realization.
Yeah.
I said, fine. She walked up. I said, I respect that. She left.
Yeah.
She left. The next day we were at a wedding. In the middle of a wedding, she comes to me and she says, I figured it out. I know what that thing was. Can we finish the session now?
Yeah.
In the middle of a wedding, we found a quiet corner to go and finish the session. Can you believe that? And she was so happy with that. So it's a journey. This is how it goes. If they're ready, they will let go. You have to respect. And that's where the philosophy comes.
Yes.
That's where the philosophy of why people do certain things, why they don't do, why people go through a certain, why they take a certain course in life.
Yes.
You have to, that is something that you have to understand in a much larger context. And Theta Healing does have answers to all.
We teach basic, advanced, and dig deeper, which are the basics. There are 3 different classes that set it. And then after that, we have 16 classes that we teach on all of them, including soulmate, rhythm to your perfect way, world relations, disease and disorder, intuitive anatomy, you and your significant other, you and your inner circle, which is a great one for your business and who you have around you, you and the creator, which is with you and how you have your relationship with the creator, you and the earth. We have a DNA 3, we have things for children, rainbow children, that help get them to understand their intuition, their intuitive abilities without getting, how do I say, scared of it. So the other thing that we also teach is for kids to understand their intuition without being overwhelmed. So a lot of people who come to us are healers who are highly sensitive. They're sensitive to everybody's emotions, everybody's thoughts, everybody's feelings. Sometimes, even if, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, Karishma, you might have come and sat in a chair somewhere else and just felt really strange or sad. The energy of the people who've been there affects you. Now, everybody, by the way, in the world feels this. It's just how much are they suppressing or allowing. Now, for some children, it can be overwhelming.
Yes.
They can see things, they can hear things. It can be very, how do I say?
And people tend to push it down. The adults will say, nothing, it's
That's
nothing.
don't think
but
about
they are only suppressing it. And these are the things that later on in life are going to cause problems. Something very small like this can cause a major problem to you in your life, whether it's regarding a relationship or abundance or whatever.
For example, if somebody's very sensitive to something and they've been told, don't do it, but they still see it, as they grow up, they might try to use substances to stop them from seeing, to numb themselves, whether it is drugs, alcohol, or even food, for that matter.
Yes.
So anything to avoid. But if you keep your
addictions,
but if you're going to treat the symptoms, you're not treating the cause.
Absolutely.
So that's why sometimes when you see that with food, I'm doing all of this, but actually the cause is something else. And so when with Theta, what you can do is find out superficially, this is the fear of water,
Yes.
but all the way down, it might be the fear of I'm afraid of failing God.
Yes. Yeah.
It's unconnected.
Seems completely unconnected,
comes
but when
up.
you actually start thinking about it, or
What
cannot
you
get
call it.
money,
Yeah.
but that's because because only only smart people have money. Okay, if smart
Educated
people have
people
money,
have
what does
money.
that make you? That makes me dumb. Why do you think you're dumb? My mother called me dumb. Why did your mother call you dumb? Because I was an accident. They never wanted me as a child.
Yes.
Now, money issue
Connection.
comes all the way down to they didn't want me. I was an accident.
Absolutely. Yes.
And once we shift that and shift that,
These
then
are
we
the
don't
kinds
have.
of things.
These are
that
the kinds of things that
we
we're working
shift.
with.
It's like unbelievable what all we get.
Yeah.
And we always get it because the client knows in every cell of their body what is going on. All we are doing is allowing that to show up.
And keeping
That's
a safe
it.
environment in a place of confidentiality, and to know that whatever you say,
They are accepting.
we're accepting, and we just help you see it. And
And
if
let
you
them
don't,
go as far as they want to go. We tell them today this much, okay, fine. When you're ready for more, you come back. No problem.
there have been people.
Because that's everybody has a different rhythm of how fast they want to evolve.
True.
Respect that. Respect it.
So, like, we've had people who come for many sessions for fertility and have had a baby, and then there's some people who've come for one session, and 9 months later they had the baby. There are
Absolutely.
people who come for many sessions for cancer, and there's one person looking for one session, and the cancer was gone. We work with people in coma. We work with people with autistic people.
Who
We
want
work
to
with
move on.
people who are ready to move on. They don't want to be on this, but they're struggling, but their family wants to keep them. Like, it's really varied, and like I
Or
said,
having closure with people who passed on.
Yes.
All kinds of things. It's all possible.
everything that, and all of it relates to our mental health.
It does.
How is this affecting our mental health? Whether it is with people we have relationships in this life, people who are no longer with us, and we still feel either a tremendous amount of love and loss, or tremendous amount of hate and resentment that are no longer there. That can also take up space in our minds, and that energy drains you. So you're wondering why we're walking around so tired, because a part of your brain is just keeping that hate for that person, so that that person is not allowed to hurt you again.
Yes.
Instead, what we can do is shift that and make that you don't need to be hurt to be reminded that you are safe. You don't have to be hurt to be reminded that you are connected to Creator. You don't have to be hurt to ask for help.
Yes.
That you can ask for help, or you can ask for love from anybody at any time, because you're worth it.
Yes. Yes.
Not to steal from L'Oreal.
No, go ahead. I'm sure she has questions to ask us.
No, like, I mean, again, ironically, it's just so, today is just so nice and beautiful, and, bringing together so many things, it's funny that you mentioned, about highly sensitive, people. It's you mentioned, that you do this for children as well, right? I've never said this on camera, but today is the first day where I think I will begin by doing this, is that I am a highly sensitive intuitive. And, growing up as a child, I didn't know this. I did not know these things. We're never exposed to these kinds of phenomenons. We're never exposed to these concepts, right? It's now that people are openly talking about, the kind of things that they could have apart from just academic talent, apart from just athletic talent, right? It's now that the world is opening up to the third dimension of things, right? And, one of the things that which I personally suffered through during my childhood, was that I didn't understand my own sensitivity. I just kept feeling like I don't know what is wrong with me. I always knew that I am different. I mean, there was not even one moment where I felt like I'm like other people. I always felt different, right? And, I felt like there's something wrong with me. I always felt like there is some kind of a disbalance. That is the reason why I feel the things I feel. I see the things I see. I, can predict the things that I can predict, right? Mev and Najma, one thing that I think, with the conversation that we've just had, I think it's this educational front. It's this thing which, you know, I think kudos to you both to be doing this, and I hope and pray that you guys can continue doing this work, you know, because I feel like, you know, the coming generation, in fact coming many generations, mental health is going to be different. It's going to be not just dinner table conversation. It's going to be a very real part of our life, right? The kids, the children, you know, we had a very different kind of upbringing, with the kind of innocence that we had, with the kind of, you know, protection that we had. It was the pre-advanced technology time, right? And today's day and time, the way that the children are born, they're already smart when they're born, right? The kind of challenges that they will have in the future as far as mental health is concerned, we can already predict that by now, right? The kind of wave that is going to be coming in very soon. So I think, you know, with your work, of course, working with adults and, you know, helping them out and everything is fantastic, you know, I mean, but I also feel like, you know, the work that you will do more and you are currently doing with children, I feel like it'll help so many people, so many kids, parents to understand highly sensitive, intuitive children to understand their special qualities at a young age so they can harness it. You know, why I'm saying this so strongly is because I didn't know this till the age of 27. I didn't know that I am a highly sensitive intuitive. I always kept feeling like I am odd, I am different. I don't know why I feel the things that I feel. You know, your parents don't know these concepts. Like even today, if I would have to, the reason why Voice City is happening in the first place is because I want this conversation. I want things like these to be able to be spoken about so easily, for phenomenons that are very, very common now, people to know about all these things, right? So, you know, when parents also know that their child is gifted, their child has a third and a fourth and a fifth dimension to them, and not just academics or not just athletics, right? That parenting becomes so different, so special. And, you know, I think one thing that HSP kids, you know, need is they need a very good environment to thrive. One of the things that goes wrong for HSP kids is that while growing up, if their environments are not supportive, they end up spiraling out into something else. So I think, you know, with the kind of work that you do, and if you know, moving forward, if you can educate more kids, if you can educate more parents, and, you know, tell them that, you know, because I'm very, very sure that, you know, in the coming years, there are going to be more and more and more, because the planet, the earth, the world needs more of us. I know it, you know it, the world needs more of us, right? So there are going to be more produced. And, you know, I think with the kind of work that you do, and, you know, hopefully if I can one day contribute to it in some way or the other, education, you know, teaching, you know, healing, highly sensitive, intuitive kids, people who want to tune into their intuition. You know, I kept running away from my intuition for like 20 years of my life. It kept calling me, but I kept running away from it because I was like, listen, I have problems of my own. I don't want to tune into other people. Nobody taught me that, you know, listen, it's okay. It's a natural thing. It's a gift that you have.
How to use it.
It's actually a strength. It's actually a special skill that you could use.
And the day that I shifted, you know, the day I realized all these things, you know, by educating myself, you know, by finding out these things on my own, I do a lot of research and development on my own for various things, you know. So when I did all this for myself and I realized, I kid you not, both of you, the day I decided that I am finally going to own who I am, my life changed. My life changed, and the lives that I'm touching now, you know?
Absolutely. Yes. I have a really interesting story for you.
Yeah.
So we have a student who has been taking all our courses, and because we were teaching in Dubai and she was in America, she'd stay up all night. So she would go to work and then stay up all night to be in class with us. Now, her 6 or 5-year-old son would sleep on her lap. Okay, he'd wake up and now and so he has listened to basic, advanced, deep, and all the classes in his sleep, just getting up and all of that. So he's been taking it in. And then the other day, we met her, she called up and she says, guess what happened? I was fighting with my husband, and this little one comes out of nowhere and said, stop, both of you, let's meditate, let's go to the light, you guys are out of balance. All he's done is just sit with his mom. And immediately, because she understands what the intuition is, she's seeing it in her child, and she's able to then, like you said, nurture it, and to teach him how to use it rather than be afraid of it.
Yes. 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 Which is why I wanted to give my
That's
example.
what
It's very
It's
important.
beautiful.
absolutely.
It's very important for people to connect to what you're saying, because, as I said, so beautifully it has fit into a place where, you mentioned something that I haven't spoken about very openly till today, and I think it's so important for people to know that these are real things. They're real people going through real things.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If you feel like, there is something within you which you are afraid of, and there is something that you need to harness at one point when you open up to yourself with the kind of modalities that you're teaching, it helps you, and then you will inadvertently start helping other people, so I think it was important to talk about
Yeah.
this as an example. Yes.
Yeah, Theta Healing is like a Montessori for everyone, adults and children. If you know this basic stuff, then you can go out and do anything in the world. It's going to turbo. You get so much more out of everything. That's the beauty of it, whether it's a child or an adult. And sometimes the adults come and say, "Oh my God, these children are doing better than us."
And they are.
They are. The children get it faster. They're better at it.
Yes.
Like you said,
So
they just
some
are
of the
more
exercises
intelligent.
that we do, some of the exercises that we do, the children do it better.
Yeah, the children can move things and the adults can't move things, and they're like, they get a little intimidated. So we always teach the children separately because the adults get very intimidated at how quick and easy it is for kids. Because like we said, kids don't have blocks. And as adults, because we've gone through life, certain scares happen, fears happen, life happens. So we create blocks in our subconscious. So like you said, the more you ran away from it, the more it tried to come to you. And as soon as you say, okay, let me just look at it, it's not that, the fear is not there to hurt you.
Yeah.
The fear is there to just show you that you're actually, there's something beyond that. As soon as we take that step beyond fear, suddenly your whole powers open up. And like you said, your life changed. And now you see so much more. And it's so much easier for you to do your work because, like you said, you're now in touch with that beautiful gift that you have.
Yes.
If we may quote that this amazing author who said, the one that must not be named, name him, and he'll be okay. Name it.
He who shall not be named.
Who shall
Why
not
should
be
we be
named?
afraid of
afraid of naming him?
Say the
Name it.
name. It's not a fear anymore.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mehvash,
Wonderful.
for this.
Thank you,
An
Karishma.
honor.
This was
Thank
so
you
much
so
fun.
You
It
know,
was an honor.
the whole conversation has just, beautifully fit into place, with the kind of message that I was and you were trying to talk about, I hope, that after listening to this conversation, more people are open to, getting the healing done, tuning into their subconscious. I would urge people to, try and, go within themselves more. Find out what it is that is actually kind of stopping them, those fears that need to be sought out. I really hope that people do take this initiative, right? And if anybody does need to reach out to you, I'm sure that with the we're going to be mentioning all your handles and everything.
Yes.
So that they
Absolutely, you can find us on all the Instagram, and we teach online, we're accessible. So if anybody wants to learn these things, we are accessible online. Get in touch for classes and whatever else, even personal classes when things get better and we're safer.
Yes.
We will be doing personal classes, and it's been wonderful. Thank you so
talking
much,
to you, Karishma.
Karishma, and thank you for sharing your story, because it really gives us, again, every time we hear more stories, it gives us more and more validation on what we do and why we do it.
Yes, which is why I said that it's the right time to talk about it right now, because it just fits in so beautifully with the things that you were talking about. I think I we've spoken so much about this, and it's time now for people to reach out and get the kind of support and help that they need, so that they can actually make those changes for themselves now.
100%.
And they will change the world when they do that.
Yes.
10% of us change, the world changes.
Absolutely. I strongly believe in this, which is why, that's the reason why I think we do what we do, because we believe in that 10%.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karishma. And all the best. We can't wait to see all the different episodes of Voices.
Looking
Forward to it.
Yes.
All the best.
Thank you. Thank you once again for being a part of this. Thank you.